Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy XIV Let's Play. In this video, we're going to start with a better camera angle, and we are going to dive into 3.0's second 24-man raid, the Weeping City of Mhach. You'll need to have beaten the Void Ark, which was the 3.1 24-man that was added into the game. Weeping City of Mhach was added in patch 3.3. It has a minimum item level of 205 to enter, rewards 100 tomestones of lore, 15 of scripture, and drops item level 230 gear. You can win as many of these pieces as you want. You used to be loot restricted a long time ago, but you can win as many of these pieces as you want. Now, the Weeping City of Mhach, even to this day, has a bit of a reputation. It was a way higher difficulty curve on the Weeping City of Mhach than on the previous 24-man, the Void Ark. Now, the developers said that the Void Ark was actually undertuned and that the Weeping City is closer to what they actually want for all the 24-man difficulty. Something that gets people scratching their heads and, wiping a few times when they first come out, and even sometimes later. But they want it to be at least a decent experience, having a lot of AoEs to avoid some other mechanics that are introduced to you there. So if you see similar mechanics in raids, you at least recognize them from the 24-man instances. The Weeping City of Mhach is very, very regularly referred to as the Wiping City of Mhach, because on the second, third, and fourth boss, there are some very key things that usually happen that lead to large majorities of the raid group being wiped out in an instant. Now, with that in mind, that should make this quite the fun video, because we will either get an amazing group or we will get absolute trash. Now, the good news is, with the item level 230 gear, it's all left side gear, and all of my left side pieces, other than the weapon, which we just bought in the last one, all need upgrading. So anything that drops here, I can need on it, and it will be an immediate item level upgrade. Our ultimate goal is to try to get as many of these left side loot pieces as possible going into the next 24-man, and then using Dunskaith to pick up all the remaining pieces. Now, because the right side gear that I have is item level 230, a mix of 230 and 200, it's going to mean that I definitely need to farm some tomestones, some lore. It's only 375 per piece, but even then, this is 100 per instance. That's the Void Ark that says 50. The Weeping City, oh, we already got our queue. The Weeping City being 100, plus we'll get a first-time bonus because I'm there just for the first time. And it's actually pretty common to get first-time bonuses in the Weeping City overall. I'm just hoping we get some good left-side loot, because I don't want to have to run it too many times for Healer Happy. I'm only going to show you guys this one time. And then after that, we'll probably go back out into the 3.2 dungeons, get some of the other Healer Happy videos done, as opposed to spamming the Weeping City. So the more pieces we get here in the first run, the better. We may get 0. Who knows? Maybe we get all 5. I doubt it, but we'll see what the other healer needs. So, that actually was a really short queue. A lot of people still do all the 24-mans for Heavensward. They actually did a really good job of keeping these 24-mans played frequently. They did the same thing for the old 24-man, so I'm looking forward to it. So, the other healer is pretty decked out item level-wise, so I'm gonna hope they don't try to steal gear from me. Yeah, they're full 270. So that means that if any healer pieces drop, I still need to need against that person, but I'm kind of hoping that they let me get the gear. Not sure if you're planning on needing for decent or Grand Company seals, but need the upgrades bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Oh my god, somebody just asked, is that the real Healer Happy? So I made a point right away to type to the other healer, hey, I don't know if you're planning on needing those for Grand Company seals or for decent, but I really need the upgrades. So I hope you don't mind letting me just kind of get those. And I'm trying to make where I stand gear-wise apparent immediately. Because if I don't say anything to the other person, even though I need the gear, there's the good chance that they don't really pay attention to the gear that I have, and they just roll on everything, and then I win nothing. Like, maybe I get a bunch of really bad rolls, and it just, I end up leaving here with just nothing. And I don't want that to happen. I want to leave here with some gear. So I'm trying to communicate it to them that I'm desperately in need of any gear upgrades that actually drop from here for healer. So the first few pulls here are just a bunch of crocodiles. They don't hit very hard, but their AoEs hit really, really hard. I remember when this place first came out, watching people get one-shot by those crocodile AoEs all the time. That's why I was kind of scared to be standing in the middle of all three of them when they have both a tail AoE and a front conal AoE. These enemies, also not too bad. The smaller ones, the first daughters, or is it the Yaphim spiders? I always have a hard time telling because they're all just grouped up in there doing whatever. It's hard to even tell. They drop a bunch of poison puddles when they die, so just keep that in mind. And me, I'm just getting attacked, period. I just took a few hits, I suppose, from one of the ads. I guess they just pick like random targets and they spit it out. Never actually fully paid attention to this trash because it is trash after all, not 24-man. All right, and now we're on to the first boss, by the way. Very, very simple first couple of trash bowls. And the first boss herself is also not that bad. We're going to be fighting against the Arachne. As you can see, she's jumping up over there. There you go, Arachne Eve. And she's got a lot of mechanics compared to stuff in the Void Ark, but none of them are all too threatening. They do a ready check. It's very rare I see ready checks nowadays. Oh, that person cast. Oh, I knew they were gonna do that. I knew it. I saw the raging strikes. I'm like, they're not gonna wait. once you pop that, you've pretty much said where you stand. So my tank is not the one who's main tanking, so I am going to go full DPS until I see my group kind of taking damage. That's not too bad. The Scholar got hit, but they are one of the healers, so they can kind of take care of themselves. So it's not too bad. So the first mechanic does, he marks 3 people and he shoots these webs at them. The webs deal damage over time and slow anyone who stands in them. Now, of course, right now, don't stand in them. Don't go anywhere near them because you're going to need to dodge these donut AoEs that come out one by one. Just stand on the edge of them and then... move. Oof, I wasn't sure how much damage they were going to take from that, so I threw them the Tetra. This mechanic is exactly the same as in the Void Ark. It's literally the same one where they create the slime tethers. So if you watch that video, you should know how that mechanic works as well. And now this is the most major mechanic in the fight. She pushes everybody up to this top side web. If you stand on the solid parts, like right here, you're fine. If you stand here, you take damage over time. You take digestive fluid damage. She is going to spam the AoE implosion over and over and over again until you end this phase. She's also going to summon a spider, and she's going to summon these orbs that float towards her in the middle of the room. Now, the main thing here is you don't want to let the orbs touch her. You want to stand between her and the orbs and let them explode on you and not let them reach the center. For every orb that hits the middle, she gets a stacking damage buff. She also summons a very large orb, which just died over there, the Deep Earth Ether. And that one you need to kill before it reaches the middle of the room. Now, the one major difference here is that when you kill one of the spiders, it actually creates a rift in the webbing. And now there's people who went into that rift below us trying to kill 3 ads that are actually keeping this web up. You can see that they are called key knots if you look over at my aggro list. So once you kill the 3 key knots, this phase ends. Looks like there's 1, 2, and there's only 1 left at this point. So kill this Deep Earth Ether. The last key knot's at about 20% looking over on the left-hand side. And then, bam, we can continue that. There's also another ad that spawns down here for that phase in particular. But it's just, you need to send 1 tank down there in order to make sure it doesn't kill all the DPS while they're trying to deal with the key knot. Alright, this is the same AoE as before, where people get stuck together. Just break them out real quick. She does the donut AoE here again, so just same deal, stand on the edge, and then move inside. Then move away from that AoE, of course. Don't want to be inside there when that actually goes off. That's fine. Then she's shooting webbing at people again. Now, this second set of webbing doesn't really matter. The third set of webbing, however, has a major impact on the mechanics of the fight. I'll explain it when it actually comes out. This is just stack up and split the damage. You've seen this a million times before. You should know this by now. Just did a little tank buster right there. Nothing too major. She's going to have an attack where you have to look away from her in a second. Yeah, Fronda feared. This is actually exactly the same as the attack from St. Mocion's Arboretum, that video. So just look away from her there, or it's going to make you run all over the place like a headless chicken. Now, she should shoot one more set of webbings after this dark spike right here. Oh, I just did the reverse cleric, boys. We reverse cleric, boys. So this set of webbing is very important. So locate somebody who has it, remember where it's going to be, and then move towards it. You want to actually stand in the webbing this time. She's going to try to suck people towards the middle of the room, and when she successfully does so, she'll then explode outwards from the middle and deal a ton of damage. But if you're on the web, you don't get pulled toward the middle of the room. You probably also, if there is a webbing that's close to the middle of the room, you probably don't want to, for that reason, you don't want to stand on the ones that are close to the middle of the room, because that can happen. If you stand on the ones that are close to the middle, you're very likely to run into the situation that person just ran into, where they are standing on the web, but they're still really close to the middle, so it does a lot of damage to them. Would recommend not going towards the ones close to the middle. Now, if her health is really low here, some groups will just outright kill her, and they won't even bother doing the mechanics. You can actually just DPS her right here, and that works perfectly fine. Or you can do the mechanics properly. You know, those things. Alright, I'm actually getting kind of scared that this ether is making it so close. I'm going to stun it. Oh. I don't think it made it. No, it didn't make it. Another one made it, though. Those big ones give her a lot of stacks. So this implosion attack starts dealing massive amounts of damage. I'm actually going to immediately go and DPS the other ether as well. Now, actually, Stone 1, very useful here. Generally, I don't like to have to holy these, but, you know, when it comes to the stun, that's just how it is sometimes. And now she's at 1% health, and you just punch her in the face, and she's dead. And there you go, first boss fight. Please loot, please. What are my alliance? B? Yep, what do we get? What do we get? Casting and healing. Excellent. And I rolled an 80 on it. I'll even greed on the casting piece. Now, fingers crossed that the other healer doesn't roll above an 80 and doesn't try to take it from me. Nope, I am the sole person who rolled on it, I believe. Yep, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So that's an upgrade right there. Let me just hit this. Upgrade those gloves. Some of my gear I didn't repair before I came in. It's at like 50%. Should be more than enough as long as we don't have a bunch of wipes. Good, now what item level are we at? We are at 214, excellent. So the next few pulls, just some ghost ads and some other ads. Honestly, the trash in this dungeon, as much as the bosses 2, 3, and 4 specifically, can be really threatening, the trash is incredibly unthreatening, which isn't really that far-fetched for a lot of the 24-mans. The third boss in particular is going to be a big-time favorite for a lot of you who have played a lot of Final Fantasy games before. Alright, so we kill this Mhach ghost, and then it's just another pull. The next pull has a bunch of the actual ghost-looking mobs, and then has, I think 3 of those other mobs that spawned right there. I don't remember what they were called. Yeah, there you go. These ghosts don't do anything special. It's whatever. Just AoE these down real quick. And then 3 more mobs will spawn. We kill those, and then we're on to the second boss. The second boss, honestly, is like one of the biggest toss-ups for me. It's not really a hard boss, but there's some mechanics there that are absolutely designed to instantly kill you if you do something wrong. So, yeah. Honestly, you can get a good idea of how your group's going to do on bosses 3 and 4 based on boss 2. Because if they can't do the very simple mechanics of boss 2, there's a good chance someone's fucking up on the big mechanics of boss 3 and 4. Granted, sometimes people take boss 2 for granted and they take boss 3 super serious. So, it's oh, somebody else just noticed me. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm trying to go through the video and get that. I don't need to be clickety-clackety-clackety-clicking, doing all all that stuff. I want to make it through the dungeon and provide my commentary to you on YouTube. You know what? They'll see the video later. They'll be like, it was you. And they'll be like, why didn't you talk? And then they'll hear me say this. And then they'll understand why. And they'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. In all reality, they'll be like, that piece of shit, asshole, happy, hate that guy. I'm being asked more questions. 25 seconds? Are we doing like a real countdown for like ninjas? I guarantee you none of the ninjas. Are there even any ninjas in the group? There are no ninjas in the group. Oh, no, there's one. We have one. The rest of the alliance doesn't have any. They're all talking about me. I'm just trying to live my life, man. Trying to make a YouTube video. Okay, so Forall has a lot of death mechanics. So you notice those corpses around the room, these? Don't stand next to those ever. See those tethers? See that? That's why you don't stand next to them. So that first AoE gives you, like, it's called temporary zombification or something like that, which doesn't do anything on its own. It's completely harmless debuff. If you get 2 stacks of it, though, you turn into a zombie and you start punching the rest of your group in the face. And it hurts them a lot more than you think it would. Even if I, the healer, were to get absorbed by it, it's pretty bad. So any one of those puddles you want to avoid. Necropurge just summons puddles you got to not stand in. Now that's the thing that gets people is the second half of the fight where it's the complete opposite, where you need to use those puddles in order to survive attacks. That is the main issue with this encounter right here. It's not even an issue, it's just the issue that people have. Now for this mechanic, you just need people standing on these circles so that none of them are tethering to the sky when he does his next AoE. I don't know why that person just left theirs all of a sudden. It's fine. You can see like one tether doesn't really do any damage. Now, one of the big things that also gets people here, see this stack of corpses? Yeah, don't stand on that stack of corpses. For those arrows, everyone who's marked with the arrow needs to stack together. It's always people that are in the same party, so it's like an entire party of 8 all get that tether. And that's it. So Evil Mist summons these orbs. These are going to eventually explode with those puddles. And then look, the corpses. Stay away from the corpses. Watch. People who don't, see, they're completely zombified. Our other healer is completely zombified. So that they're just, I think they were just auto-attacking me. I think they're auto-attacking somebody else now. And then AoE them down. If you don't kill these ads fast enough, they explode and do a ton of damage to the group. A ton of damage. And we're going to push it into the ad phase any second now. See all those people? Honestly, even with the green there, they should just all run through it to get to each other. If you don't, it turns you into, I think, a toad. I think you could probably see a few toads around. So here, she's going to summon 3 ads. She's going to pull all the corpses into the middle and summon 3 ads. The order most people do is they almost always kill the summoned succubus first. Summoned Succubus has an attack called Beguiled Mist, which you should silence or stun. The Haganti right here has a poison attack that it shoots at a marked player, and also a doom attack if you're actually looking at it. The Summoned Mhach has a tail swipe attack, which I'll trigger just to show you. It's okay to trigger it, you just don't want it to face the entire group. You want the tail to be away from the group. Alright. And they already killed the first ad. So the Haganti is the last one you really have to think about. I got it. And see that Doom attack right there? So he just cast an attack that if you're looking at him, you get Doom. You can just Asuna this Doom. And you have like 12 seconds to Asuna that Doom. If anyone in your party gets that Doom, you have like 10 to 12 seconds to remove it from them before they die. So just Asuna it, and you'll be okay. Now he's going to do big room-wide AoE that does damage depending on how long the phase took. And this is the phase where people screw up. And there's a good reason for that. It's just the way the fight is designed, the first half teaches you to stay away from these puddles. You want to stand in one of these puddles. You want to stand in one of them. You do not want to stand in two of them. I actually don't know if I'm standing in one or two of them right now. So what happens is he does that attack, and he gives you, there's gradual zombification. If you do not have gradual zombification or are not a full-out zombie, he will outright kill you. I am going to res them. You know me, I hate going through the party list right here and trying to res people with controller. That's something that never got easier for me. Now, same here with this attack. These summon green orbs. What do you want to do? You want to stand on one of these green orbs. You don't want to stand on two of them. You just want to stand on one of them. So you can get the gradual zombification buff. Debuff, I should say. So you do not die. If you do not have that when Mega Death casts, that's this attack right here, you instantly die. But if you get hit by two of them, you become a zombie, and you generally want to avoid that as well. So that's why the first phase and the second phase can cause a lot of issues. We had a pretty good living rate. Now the next mechanic is right here, is Hellwind. Hellwind reduces everyone's health to 1% of their maximum, I believe. I like to immediately benediction the tank, or if I'm a healer, or, you know, any one of a million things that you can do right here. And then immediately heal everybody else up. You also got to make sure you're doing this. Do not screw this up, because this becomes a lot of damage if people do it wrong. And then you stack for these arrows, and then you just repeat it. He's already at 7%, so it was actually a moderately successful attempt. We had a few deaths to Necropurge. There's almost always deaths to Mega Death. But I'd say overall, it was solid. I made sure to give my tank the benediction. So one little fair trick about Hellwind. No matter what mitigations you have available, it does 99% of your health and damage. It is unavoidable. If you give a tank a stone skin, which you saw me do right there, the stone skin will remain after they take the damage. So they have this stone skin to protect their health bars from falling to 0. That's the same with eloquiums that are put up before the attack goes off. That's the same with, I guess, any sort of bubble or shield that prevents, you know, that absorbs damage. It's also worth noting that things like Holmgang, Living Dead, Hollowed Ground, Benediction, any sort of really fast heal or something that makes you unable to die as a tank or a healer is definitely worth using there. It is probably the best scenario in any 24-man you'll ever have to actually use those mechanics. So this is the only trash pull between the second boss and the third boss, and is the last trash pull of the dungeon. What I recommend is Alliance A, go to the left platform, Alliance B hovers in the middle platform, and Alliance C takes the right platform. It doesn't really matter which tank takes this headstone, but face it away from the group. It's probably best if Alliance B takes it, though. Sometimes groups just don't care. It does a cleave attack, and it does an AoE attack. It doesn't even do a cleave. It does a giant conal attack. And I'll explain what this thing does in the middle right here in a little bit. So very, very shortly into the fight, fireballs, those void fires, are going to spawn on both the left platform and the right platform. Generally, that's why you have alliances A and C take those platforms. Soon they're going to get sectioned off, and no one's going to be able to exit or enter that area until the ad that is going to spawn there is dead. So now you see there's a Parthenope. Now they need to kill the Parthenope if they want to escape that area over there. There's one more mechanic that you need to do that sometimes I like to kind of hover around. I like to hover around A and C's areas because I'm not always confident that they're going to do the mechanic. I see Alliance C has somebody doing it. Alliance A does not. I'm going to go over there now. So you see these platforms at the far end? When he goes and does this, he starts casting Flaring Epigraph. You need one person to stand on each of them, and it'll trigger this shield in the middle of the room. And this basically makes Flaming Epigraph do not a lot of damage. If you're not inside this bubble when Flaming Epigraph goes out, you die. If the bubble isn't available, then people die. And if it is, then you just sit here and DPS the heck out of him, and as long as you're inside of it when the cast finishes, you should be okay. See that Black Mage over there? If he doesn't Ethereal Manipulation, he's going to die. So you'll get a good example. Boop. Yep. And he's dead. Now, that can happen a second time, but with the DPS that we have, I don't think it will. I'd be very shocked if we got, you know, had to do an entire second set of ads and void fires and stuff. All right, and then we're on to the third boss. Now, the third boss is really the boss that gave this raid the reputation of the wiping city. It is Ozma from Final Fantasy IX, and he is not as obnoxious as he is there, but very obnoxious all the same. He's got a lot of mechanics that lead to a lot of problems. And I was just typing out something strategy-wise. I'll solo the balls. That's probably not the greatest thing to say out of context, but, you know, it is what it is. So here you go. So you can fall off this platform. Do not try to walk to the edge of the platform. You will instantly die. Also, bards, please do not, please do not turn on, they said spicy. Please do not turn on Foe's Requiem. It will immediately aggro the boss. Do not do it. He has a very short aggro range, but please do not cast Foe's Requiem while you're waiting for the boss to be pulled. It will instantly pull him. So Alliance A goes to that platform, Alliance B hangs on the first platform, and Alliance C goes to that far platform. And that pretty much is your individual space to deal with the mechanics that will happen on your side. Normally, some people throw up markers as well, but I'll just keep in mind the way things are going to go. So we're pulling with... oh, God. Yeah, we're pulling with a limit break. I only casted a spell there because I saw someone pulling with a limit break. Otherwise, I would have held off. So each tank, I believe, all three of the main tanks of each group actually take auto attacks here. And this is the first mechanic you'll encounter. So that thing, that marker, will drop a meteor that does proximity damage to the group. So you want to drop it either way in the back or preferably on the platform, the passageway, I should say, or the walkway to your left. And then stack kind of close in next to Ozma. Then you want to kill these singularity fragments, because if you don't, they eventually do like tornado magic, and it does a crap ton of damage. So Ozma's ball form is just his first form. He has two other forms. He has square form, which is actually important because I'm doing the mechanic for square form. So for square form, you want to stand as close to him as possible. But then these orbs are going to spawn, and he's going to start cleaving the group. Oh, so you're going to do it. Okay. So I actually said I would do it, but the other healer did it instead. You can have anybody do those. Those orbs are always, I think, 60% of your max health and damage. So it doesn't really matter who does it, just they need heals. The tank will take 60% of their health. The healers will take 60%. It doesn't matter. But when you see him turning into a cube, you need to all stack close to his body without, of course, walking off. When he hits about 65-70%, he'll suck everybody into a black hole. And then this mechanic happens, which is, if you watched my video from way back when, which was the video on the Crystal Tower, it's basically a mini version of the second set of trash, or the trash before the second boss in the Crystal Tower. You have one person stand on this platform right here. On each of the three platforms, you kill these singularity echoes, and you kill the singularity enemies that it spawns, and then you can actually go to the next part of the fight. Now, there's actually a timer on this. If you don't do this fast enough, you're going to be having a bad time, because the ability Doomsday from Final Fantasy IX is busy trying to come out of that portal right there. So you want to kill this Ozma Shade before he successfully finishes casting Doomsday. Now, the Ozma Shade doesn't even auto-attack, but what he does do is he casts Assimilation, which is a giant gaze attack. Now, even if you get hit by it, as you see this monk has been hit by it, if you then look away from the boss after being hit, you won't get this stacking debuff. You can see he went from 1 to 2 to 1 to 2 again. And it's because he keeps kind of looking away when he goes to do an attack, but he's doing it so quick, it's kind of hard to see. If you get 3 stacks, it encases you and gives you a debuff that puts you in a jail, and they have to break you out of the jail. Otherwise, it's just a race to kill the Ozma Shade. Now, for the last phase in Ozma, there's going to be a lot more meteors, there's going to be a lot more AoEs, there's going to be a lot more damage. First of all, we have this mechanic right here, which is just all 3 groups need to stack up separately. Each one of these stacks gives massive magic vulnerability up, so if you try to stack all 3 of them together in the same spot, you're going to instantly die, so you don't want that. Now, the diamond attack actually has a few tricks that you can do. You're generally supposed to just leave the middle platform, but you see where the tank is? You see how the tank is on the very edge of existence right there, and he was perfectly fine. If you are confident, you can actually do that and avoid the damage outright without having to go all the way off to the edge and lose uptime. Now for this part right here, he actually usually shoots AoEs at people that do a stacking bleed. He didn't actually shoot any at us, surprisingly. So now you can see we get 2 meteors. This is where there can be some confusion. It's preferred, like I said, the walkway to the left and all the way in the back right there. Now, because he's an orb, there's nothing really too bad happening right now. But now there's 6 of these ads, and we got to deal with them. Ozma's still at 31%. There's still a fair portion of the fight left, so if you don't do this properly, you are going to eat knobs. The biggest problem, the biggest part that causes issues in this fight is the very next thing that happens. He is now either going to transform into the cube or the triangle. In fact, it's random which one he transforms into the whole time. He's going to do the cube. So this is the hardest part of the fight. He's not only going to do this, he's going to summon the orbs that you need to eat, and then he's going to do double meteors while the tank is being cleaved. That is bad news bears. The worst part is that, yeah, that. Because, yeah, then he summons, then you're trying to do the orbs, and he summons the meteors. And now the tank has to keep this cleave away from you, because he changes his auto attacks into this cleave attack, this, like, giant laser beam. And then if the tank's trying to pick up the ads and he starts cleaving everybody, it goes downhill really fast. In fact, I'm just going to assume he's going to cleave us repeatedly, which is exactly what's happening, and I'm just going to medica spam. Now he has it off to the side, so we're good. In fact, one of our people was actually soloing that off to the side. Now that we've got that handled, though, the fight should be over. Handled pretty well. You got a pretty good group here. The bigger issue there is when those orbs come out, he also does Holy, which knocks you back slightly. So if the healer or whoever is eating the orb right here, and everybody gets knocked back into it, everybody loses 60% of their max health. So if anybody's even remotely low on health, they're dead. So that is, again, the other issue that you'll see with that mechanic. If he does the diamond attack right there, it's not that bad. It's oh, I see. Healing shoes. Excellent. Excellent. We got 2 pieces. We could still get more because we have the last boss coming up right here. Yeah, the diamond, I didn't get to show you. He has an attack where he just shoots an AoE at people and it puts a stacking bleed. So if you all stack up, it does a lot of damage, like, over time. Yes. We're making out pretty good here. Wait, what? Wait, I'm so confused. Oh, they're in my inventory. Oh, well, we already pulled, so I'll put it on later. I gotta clear out my inventory after this. Anyway, this is the last boss, Calofisteri. So Calofisteri is just a hair boss. She has a lot of hairy mechanics, and a lot of people screw them up all the time. So we'll talk about them as they come one by one, because they actually happen pretty slowly. So the first mechanic she does is an attack where she creates an extension, where one of her 2 hairs will completely turn into a giant cleaving machine, and she'll cleave half the room. It's got a very fast cast time, hits pretty hard, and I think it leaves a dot on you or a vulnerability stack, one of the 2. Then all of her auto attacks will actually be giant cleaves on that half of the room. Now the next extension she does actually summons a small AoE under a single player the first time. When you dodge that AoE, it leaves behind a trap. If you step on that trap, then it'll suck you in, and you'll have to kill the extension before it instantly KOs everybody inside. It'll suck everyone in an AoE. So you're seeing that the tank is rotating the boss here, by the way. This is incredibly risky, because basically the tank is allowing everybody to not need to dodge around the mechanic. And people can get complacent, and when they do need to dodge the mechanic in the second phase, they just outright die to it. So this is the entanglement. That's what it looks like when somebody is actually absorbed into one of those traps. You need to kill the entanglement fast. This is the middle of the fight phase. See those lasers that chase you? It's exactly like Cloud of Darkness. If it hits you, it does vulnerability stacks, and it chases you around. We ran into each other, so I'm getting my ass kicked right here. Kind of just happens. Whatever. I'll throw a stone skin on myself. It won't be a big deal. Wow, that wore off really quick, actually. And your goal is to kill the small Bijus first and kill the large Biju second. Honestly, I have seen like half of these Bijus go into the boss and power her up and do absolutely nothing. So she does an attack called Dancing Mad here. She drinks from that, and then she just does a bunch of AoEs. None of them do a particularly large number of damage. So just 1 Medica 2, and I'm good. So from this point on, you cannot rely on the tank for these extensions. This first extension, you can still rely on the tank for. After this, all of them cannot be turned. I say this and I stress this because people yell at the tank after this for not turning the boss after they've been turning it the entire first phase. But you cannot rely on the tank from this point on. If they have her positioned correctly ahead of time, it can work, but you cannot rely on them. So for this extension, there's 2 types of hairs. There's these axe-looking hairs, and then there's the bulb-looking hairs, which do a giant AoE. You want to basically go stand under the giant axe-looking ones. So that way, when you go under the giant axe-looking ones, they don't hit you because they do a donut type AoE. Don't step on the traps. Then she does the next hair extension where she cleaves half the room. And now this mechanic. So penetration, it shoots you in whatever direction you're facing. So you just want to run up to the wall away from all the AoEs and just look away from her. Because the goal is to avoid getting knocked into all those other bulb extensions that are around the room. Now she's going to charge in the direction, and then she's going to immediately cleave half the room. She already has the giant axe hair looking thing, so you could see it, and then she cleaves half the room. So now you're going to see how much damage that does. Yeah, so it does indeed leave a hop behind. Now from this point on, I would recommend pulling her back to the middle of the room. Do not, this is a bad idea. You want to bring her to the middle of the room. The problem is, if she does the hair extension and she does it on her left side, we are dead. Because we cannot physically hide behind her. This is why it is very dangerous. Why tanks, I always have a hard time trusting them with this fight. Now she also summoned these 2 AoEs that shoot vulnerability. Look, like, you can't turn her. I don't think you can turn her at this point. Yeah, you literally can't turn her. That's why. Remember when I said people rely on the tanks? That's why you need to not tank her at the wall right there. Because that is the exact problem you will run into. She cannot be turned after she does that attack. So you pretty much need to not tank her by the wall anymore. Those AoEs that shoot those line AoEs that give you vuln stacks, honestly, they aren't that bad. They aren't that bad at all. That's why I didn't go to that one, by the way, because I was afraid of those entangles. And by the way, she's going to hit half the room again. And I'm probably going to die because I just... I got it. I was in cleric for some reason. Oh my god, and now he's... Oh god. No. No, I have the dot! No! Yeah. There's not much I can do about that. That's why you just don't tank her by the wall there. It's just not a good idea. Bring her back to the middle of the room. Ah, I was fending and striking loot also. Is there a minion? Nah, no minion drop. Alright, we got 2 pieces. That's not bad at all. I'll roll on all these Calofisteri cards. Maybe I'll win one. Yeah, so you could see why that boss can sometimes cause problems. A pretty simple boss overall, but still, it's, you know, you got to be careful about tank position there. I would not recommend tanking her towards the wall. I'd recommend tanking her in the middle of the room because she cannot be turned anymore after that point. Even if you have to take the hit from those extensions that shoot the line AoEs to give you vulnerability stacks, it's better to eat those vuln stacks than to literally make an AoE that is undodgeable, except if you stand in 1% of the space in the arena. It's a tough balance, but let's see. I also got the Belladonna card from the other video. Are any other cards? Okay, let's clear out some friggin' inventory, please. That was bad that I couldn't even equip those boots because I just have all this crap. No, I don't want to equip them. I want to toss them. Discard. Discard. I mean, it's my own fault for literally never getting rid of anything on this character. My main character isn't even this bad. Them Acolyte boots, though. I gotta do it. I gotta do all of this, like, off camera. I mean, I don't want to have a video of me just deleting everything from my inventory. And then I'm gonna go get these boots. There we go. Is there anything else? I did equip the gloves, right? Yeah, we got the gloves. So now I'm up to item level 216. I got some extra tomestones, and we're good to go. And I feel like that was a decent video for the Weeping City of Mhach. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be wrapping up this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the Patreon supporters for bringing the series back. Thank you, and be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. It wouldn't be a Mr. Happy video if I didn't say that. And you know what? I will see you in the next video, which will not be Dunscaith just yet. But we will be getting to Dunscaith very soon. That's the quest for Dunscaith right there. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, take care.